Oh, you have it up.
It's recording.
Okay, good.
So, it's on the-
Yeah, because we don't care to see it. That's how much one. Okay, perfect. Oh. Welcome. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming out. This is traffic safety and just different things that we put together a committee 6 months ago now, give or take, to talk about some of the things that are going on our roads. I get numerous calls, or Jen gets numerous calls, and people come into the office, come into the town hall to talk to the resident trooper. And the bottom line is we have a speeding problem. We know it. Can't walk on our roads anymore. It's not safe. People don't look at the signs, or they don't see them. I don't know what it's all about, except for our roads aren't safe anymore. And it's all over the place. It's all over the place. So we asked for volunteers to get together for a committee and talk over some things. And I'm going to read their names. Nick Ferris, co-chair. Jeff Lewis. What? Nick's the chair. Co-chair. I think I said co-chair. Is not Kristen co-chair? Kristen is right. If you have one co-chair, don't you have to have another co-chair? They said Nick. Nick is a co-chair, and Kristen Locke is a co-chair or vice chair. Okay, I believe I heard you say co-chair, and it's okay. This is not starting out for me, is it? I'll read all about it tomorrow on Facebook. Jeff Lewis, chief of the fire department. Steve Wostemski, who is assistant chief, deputy chief. Okay. Beth Lunt, DPW director. I mentioned Kristen. John Warren, Sherry Cage, J.C. Anderson, who is new to the committee. Jennifer Boniato. I'm sorry, I butchered it, but she's new to the committee. And our resident state trooper. If you don't know him, if you haven't met him, good for you. And for those who have met him, maybe it was just in a nice setting, and some have met him when he said, "Have a nice day," and he handed you your ticket. He's back there, and I got to tell you, this trooper here, I've been here a long time. We've had a lot of troopers. He's one of the best. Okay, one of the best. So I never answer on Facebook because I can't hear the inflection in your voice. Look at your eyes, and see your body action to tell me how you really feel. But when somebody called out our state trooper, it's the only time I ever answered up And you got a lot of nerve calling out this young man. Okay, so that's my opinion. So thank you. So from different traffic authorities, we have Sean Berry, who is the Safety Technical Associate at the T2 Training and Technical Assistance Center at the University of Connecticut. So he'll be up here to answer questions, talk a little bit about what goes on and what he can provide us. We've gotten some information from other people, other towns. You see it in the packet here, who have installed different things. It's about speed cameras, but it's about speed bumps and humps and tables and mumble strips versus rumble strips and lighting, flashing, you're going too fast, and painting on the roads. We've talked about everything. So the people on the committee have done a great job. I'd like to say we got 100% solution, but we certainly don't. So, and who did Mr. Who Trooper Allen bring with him?
Trooper Mike Buck is here to assist Trooper Allen.
Trooper Mike Buck is here to assist Trooper Allen. Any questions that come in on the cameras specifically, or?
Buck is on the
What do you do?
traffic safety.
Excellent. So we get, so we have some pretty good knowledgeable people here. The committee people are here. I guess if you want to ask the committee people, you can, but we'll open this up for questions in a little bit. I would ask that you raise your hand, state who you are, where you're from, your address here in town, ask your question, and we'll try and, or if you have just a statement, we'll keep it to 2 minutes. And then once we go through everybody, you want to ask another question or another statement of what you've heard, and do it again. Okay? So I hear talking.
I'm just going to put the PowerPoint up for,
Okay.
we're going to go over the recommendations.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the committee has given some recommendations already to the Board of Selectmen. And we have not voted on any of them. I mean, I've made a comment or two because I've been looking at this and getting the phone calls and stuff for a number of years. One of the recommendations, begin the process of integrating automatic traffic enforcement safety devices within the town of Columbia. On me and the Board of Selectmen. We listened to a traffic authority about the mumble strips, and not the rumble strips, because you can hear them outside the car and they reverberate it through your window and across the lake, and everybody's upset by them. These are mumble strips. They're designed to hear it and feel it in the car and not so much on the outside. People on the committee actually went and did some testing of it. I've done some testing of it. And the people at the meeting were upset. We don't want mumble strips and stuff. And we said, okay, I guess they're not into it. And when we walked out of there, one of the selectmen said to me, God, this feels like one of the times we should actually go against what the people at the meeting said. And we didn't, and we should have. Today, there was another accident on the curve. So, okay. Recommendation not to investigate. Recommendation, they've talked about it, so not to actually do speed bumps, humps, and tables. Kristen, Nick is in another meeting, so is that the recommendation, that we really not do speed humps and stuff?
That was what we voted out of the committee.
Okay.
The fire team, and that voted against it.
Yep. Right, and we'll talk about it a little bit. It says to not investigate. We talked to the people who, we did investigate it. So, okay. Is there anything more here? Okay.
Now, so where are we going? We will teach you things.
Great. So Sean's going to come up here again. He's from UConn at the T2 Center for, and he'll tell you what they do and what they provide us when it comes to safety, and see what he can give us.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Barry. I'm with the T2 Center at the University of Connecticut. And I have no horse in this race. I have no skin in this game. I'm a conduit of information. Whether you put these cameras up or not, I'm just as happy as long as your people are safe in the town. I don't work for a company. I make no more or less money whether you do these or not. I just want to have all your questions answered. Before I did this, I was a police officer for 25 years. For 17 of those years, I was an accident reconstructionist. So I've seen firsthand what these crashes can do to a family, to a town, to individuals. It's awful. I'm going to talk to you about these speed cameras. Like I said, I don't work for a company. I have no horse in this race. So there's a law passed in 2023 that said you can put speed cameras in. On the OSTA website, which is all in this packet that was nicely enough to be printed off for you. In this packet is all these slides. Those are the towns on the right on the top that have got their plans approved. You can view those. Well, every approved plan is visible to you. Go on the website, click on the link. It'll bring it right to the approved plan. You can see what everybody's doing. Since this slide was created, more towns have been approved. Hartford and New Britain are the only towns right now with pending applications. Everybody else's applications have been approved. This is a pretty comprehensive, a pretty broad stroke of what the towns in Connecticut look like. New Haven, one of the biggest ones in the state, all the way down to Washington, which most people had to look up on a map as to where Washington was when they first started doing this. They were the original ones to do it, highly successful. There's data from Washington in the packet, the long sheet that you have that was out on the table. Washington's included in there as to show what a small town can do. Middletown got a hold of these things, and the data in there is unbelievable. There's a slide in here about their speeds going down, and you know, people look at the money generator these things are. They're not money generators. They're not meant to generate money for the town. They're meant to slow people down, and it's working. It's working not just in Middletown where the speed cameras are, but it's working in Middletown citywide. Speeds are down, crashes are down. On the OSTA website, OSTA is the Office of State Traffic Authority. They're the ones who run this program through the DOT. They're in charge of this. If you submit a plan, they're the ones who review it. And they wanted to make it as easy as possible for towns to do it. For towns that don't have an engineering department to be able to put these things together. Everything you need to know is on the website. It's unbelievable how easy the legislature made this and how well OSTA is doing. The DOT is not known for being super user-friendly. They're working very hard to change that image. This is one of the ways they're doing it. Any questions you have, any information you're looking for is available to the public on the OSTA website. DOT, then search for OSTA. Simple enough. One of the things they provided, and it's on our website too, is a checklist. A checklist of things of how to get your application approved. And the first one is you have to pass an ordinance. Because if the trooper writes you a ticket, the state of Connecticut versus the driver. This would be Columbia versus the driver. It's the same thing as it's an infraction through the town. It's not, you didn't violate a state law, you violated a town ordinance. So you have to pass an ordinance to allow these things into your town. The democratic process still works. And in one town that I know of for sure, the ordinance failed. They tried to do this. They had a meeting. The town people were dead set against it. And they said, no, thanks. And that was as far as they got. They just stopped right there. You don't have to do it. This is why we have the democratic process to let this happen through the people. So once you pass your ordinance, there's Beacon Falls ordinance. You're not recreating the wheel. Your vendor, when you choose a vendor who's going to be the person that's going to install and run these cameras, they'll help you with all this stuff. They want in on this. For this, it's like Mad Libs for them. They're just plugging and playing information in. They've done this before. They'll help you make a great application if you choose to put an application in. All right, so here's the basics of the program. Once you put the speed cameras out, 30 days of warnings have to happen. Middletown went so far as to put one of those gigantic changeable message boards, warning period ends, and the date it ended. And then it went down, my mom was in Middletown, I wasn't driving by these things for fun. Then it said, warning period ends Wednesday, tickets start Thursday. Then when the program went active, the board said, speed cameras in use, please slow down. Next to the sign for the speed cameras, and you see in the data that the numbers they've gotten. So first 30 days, just warnings. Your first offense is $50 maximum. That's the most it could be, plus a $15 administrative fine to the company that runs these things. Your second and subsequent offense, 75 plus a 15. So your second offense is $75. Your 22nd offense is $75. It's not going to go past that. Each ticket is reviewed at your vendor's location. So if you drove past my car that said, Sean's got a gray Camry, and here's his plate, and it's a gray Camry, it goes through the vendor. The vendor sends it here to this town. There's one municipal employee, any municipal employee, not a police officer, not anybody that currently works in town hall, reviews it and says, yep, that looks right. And then it goes from there. So there's a process of what they're looking at to be verified. Anything that's like kind of shaky or hesitant, gone. Nobody wants to open the can of worms of putting out bad data. You can't start creating tickets until you get past 10 miles per hour over the limit. So if your speed limit's at 35, 46 is the lowest ticket you can issue. That's the lowest. You can set it higher. But by statute, it's 11 is when the tickets start. You can't, we're not giving tickets for 26 and a 25. Nobody wants to do that. It's 11 is where it starts. The ticket is mailed to the registered owner. So if you have kids, I have 3 kids. If I get one of these things in the mail, I'm going to do the game of like, all right, who was in this town? Whose is this? It doesn't get the driver. It doesn't get a picture of your face. It just gets your license plate in your car. That's all. And there's an appeal process. All right, pitfalls. I'll use Middletown as an example. They were inundated with a number of tickets. The number of tickets they got was staggering. So they had to figure out which municipal employees are going to be. And it doesn't have to be one municipal employee. It could be any municipal employee. So they had a bunch of police officers and town employees on light duty. And they go, all right, light duty guys, you're doing ticket review. And they did it, and miraculously, all their light duty ailments went away, and they went back to work. Once they got rid of those guys, they had to figure out who's going to do it now. And they hired back retired police officers to do the tickets. Come in, work 4 hours, however long you want to work, and do the verification process. But it doesn't have to be anybody in the police department, any municipal employee. Second problem they ran into was everything's done through the web. You can pay your ticket online, never have to leave your house. Well, some people don't want to do that, or can't do that, or are told by their kids or grandkids, don't you ever put your credit card information on the internet. So they walked into town hall with a check or cash, and were like, where do I pay my ticket? And there was no process to do that. So Middletown had to set up drop boxes, actual little kiosks to drop your check in. Then I had to figure out, well, since we're not going through the vendor, what do we do with all these checks and this cash? And actually I had to create a bank account for when these tickets these things get paid in person, the money had to go from these little kiosks to a bank, and then had to go from there. They had to create a process for that because they had a lot of people walking in to town hall and to the police department wanted to pay these things in person. Most things that come up could be answered are questions. People have questions. They don't necessarily want to fight their ticket. They just want to know a thing. So they had to create an email address for questions about it. If you receive a ticket, you can go to this email address and we'll answer your emails. Somebody had to be the person to answer those emails too, which is also a lot of work. And they set up a voicemail. If you have a question, you don't want to do the internet again, call and leave a question. So somebody's job was to go in and go through the voicemail. And if people had questions and left the phone number and weren't just yelling into the phone, they would call the people back and say, yes, here's what happened. Here's where this is. Here's your plate. Here's what happens. Most issues got resolved by returning a phone call or an email, just answering questions. What do you do with the money? Because what are you going to do with all this money now? Because it's spelled out in the statute of what you can do. You can't go out and buy police cars. You can't hire policemen. You can't buy all new stuff for town hall. You can't do anything you want. It's spelled out. Improving transportation mobility, investing in transportation infrastructure, and for paying for this program of the speed cameras. Those are the 3 things you can use this money for. So more money to make your roads safer. It has to be spent that way by statute. So the big question, hey, does it work? Is all this stuff worth it? If we do this, are we going to get anything out of it? This is in your handout too. And there's updated numbers about the number of dollar amount and citations they picked in that long sheet of paper that's on the table by the front door. But if you look at that chart, the green line, which is the highest line there were over 90,000 people at the beginning of this program, going between 45 and 50 on this road to 35. Now that's down to just over 20,000. So $70,000 drop in number of people going speeding. The big one to me is the red line, which is the lowest line, just under 30,000 people going over 55 into 35 is now down to about 4,000. So yeah, it works. And the Middletown PD has said speeds are down citywide, crashes are down citywide, not just where these are. They have 3 locations where these are. So it's not just, one of the complaints I heard people talking about speed humps and speed bumps is it slows people down right there. And then after that, they just go on their way. This is working citywide, crashes wise and speed wise in the city. So if anybody else have any questions now, or you want to wait till later?
Any input on this thing, and then we'll ask questions, and then we'll move on to other. Any input?
I'll just say, I mean, I'm not from the town, but to you guys, but just hearing it and putting something into the town hall, like getting voicemails on the speed, on the sign, on the major state roads that we have. I can tell you that it would be a pro, not a con, on getting these on 66 and 87. You have the lake on 87, a lot of experienced walkers are on 87, and I'm on there, if you don't see me, you probably will eventually. And I'm talking the majority of the town residents, but a lot of people on 87 and 66. That takes our time away from Pine Street, whatever it is, Old William, Cars Mill, all these roads that you guys are asking me to be at, one person. And again, I'm willing to do the work. I enjoy doing my job, but I need some assistance when it comes to speeding to help you guys. So I get it, like, my privacy and whatnot, when you sitting there with radar, and we're from that, right? Everyone has a camera, as law enforcement, we can't have our privacy, in trouble when we're out on the road. People are putting us off time, we have auditors, whatnot. So if you're worried about like you said, your face and camera is fitting the plate if you're speeding. That's it. It's not a video. If you're speeding to that area, it's going to take a photo of your plate. It's going to come to the town hall. The town is an ordinance. So you got use of the ordinances in town. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with me. If you got pay out there and combined with rights and sacraments, your ticket is going to the state, and it's going to be a lot more than what the town is asking for. I've been really good for the community in the town of Columbia. But at this point, with all the, especially coming summertime, a lot more accidents, a lot more fails, a lot more distracted driving. You're not getting room. There's the behind you going likely, we have a car. Okay, 87 minutes south of 35, and I can promise you, if they will follow me, we'd have 12 cars stopped in a matter of seconds. I can sit out there and get 7 cars in 30 minutes. That's how bad it is. And it's the lake. I see everyone walking, so when I'm out there and see people walking, you're flying by at 50 miles an hour, you're getting stopped. And it's not going to be great if it's somebody at 50 miles an hour. So 66%, people are passing at 66. Okay, not 66. So now that's taking away from 87. And when group 6 and BPW, people are passing in. So I can only be in some places. If this was implemented on 87 and 66, I could do a lot more around town. And understanding the privacy part that people want, I get it. But it's just your license plate if you're speeding. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, this is not going to affect you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, if you want to ask a question about the speed cameras and then, yes, go up, give us your name and address, and use the microphone so we can hear you. I'm going to ask the first question because I get this a lot. Fourth Amendment rights, unable to address your accuser. how is, how is the state handling that? How are courts handling it? How are towns handling that?
No state, no court. 30 days after your ticket is either paid or dismissed, most of the data gets dumped out. Who you are, your credit card, your address, all those things. The only thing they hold on is a part of the data to see if you commit a subsequent violation, which changes the dollar amount. That's it. After a year, it's all gone. It all goes away.
One thing I'd say is keep in consideration that, it's not about the money grab. So if there's a money grab, that's not, literally 12 people down, and it has worked in other towns. So we have a small town, very residential community. This will be a huge fact, I would say, because I'm not doing the job. So I would say this will help, and it's going to go towards keeping the road safe. So getting mobile strips or making it safe that someone safer, people aren't flying 60 miles down the road. Or Hennepin, it's a 25 and people are going 40, 45, which just understand, this is a town ordinance. You go into the town, if you have an issue, the town will be dealing with it, not me. If I'm dealing with you, it's all the state, or you can go to the headquarters in Middletown, and 2K if you have, but when it comes to this, it's an ordinance, just like all the other ordinances in town, and it's gonna help those that are complaining about speeding, about pedestrians, of how things walk on the road like this, your issue.
And I will say, and we're saying, I'll pick the next two much. First of all, I have to know that the speeders probably aren't here. You just want yourself to be here, it's awesome, I just need to New England, so I'm leading on this. Trying to be fair, to be transparent, right, and that's what we should be trying to do. The other options out there, which is why I'm here, is there's different options, so I'm part of the traffic unit. I was a resident trooper at a small town for 8 years. And I know we have the same concern in that town. My unit can be requested, for example, we will come in, what the guys just get on the roads, and walk them up playing, and start all the cars on the roads. And it was very again, enforcement unit. So, the ground drives the grade. Or, it's a trooper. We're there for. We're not supposed to be seen, right? There's detection and deterrence. That would be deterrence or detection. So if there's an email to headquarters that says, hey, we have a speeding problem, we often send in 4 to 5 movers a couple days a week. And we get to work, right? And one thing Gary has is he has a good relationship with the community. We're not assigned here. So that's kind of the options. If you have a speeding enforcement on a certain road, and Gary tells the traffic troopers, hey, we have to take this road, I promise you, that road is going to get addressed, and it's going to get addressed fairly, equally, right? And that, when those are state cases. So I'm not here to speak for or against speed cameras, I'm not involved in that. I'm just telling you, we come in, we get it, and we go. So that's an option we have, but, the other things are, communicate, educate, and work. So the community now, we hope that you all educate all your friends, and then work will come down to those 2 steps. So if there's any questions, like I said, I can answer them. That's your choice to community. Even to have some offside, meaning they have no state points or whatever. But there's other options.
So if one of those guys gets a ticket, your insurance is going to be affected. We got points in your license things. These don't.
So you're the first one, okay? So, just want to tell you about other things that we're working on that you don't see in the town of Columbia because it goes through myself, with CROG and CCM and whoever we need to deal with. And I know that I talked to the state. They have a big plan for 6 and 66 down at the bottom. That intersection down there. They already have a big plan that they've reviewed with me. And we hope that they start putting it into effect, widening, better turn signals. It's not a rotary. Rotary's going right now. Really, when I'm looking at this multi freezing down there, okay. I say, I've got another problem right here, 66 and 87, center of town. And they go, really? You know what? And I said, okay, let's pull it up. They pulled it up, did the Google Maps and stuff, and they said, I guess you do, don't you? I said, even, yes. So they're looking also into that, widening, turn lanes, proper turn signals, passing rear bumper, so you can see the oncoming traffic and about it. John, the land use just told me, I asked about it on Monday. He gave me feedback from the state, looking at, hoping to meet with us in 6 weeks, talk about that. So it's not just speed camp. It's not, you know, one of the selectmen said to me, is this a money grant or is it about speed? I said, yes, yes. And I'm sorry to say that, but the truth of it is, we have people speeding. You're not affected if you don't speed. I mean, it's crazy. There's no reason to go 45 on Route 87 through the center of town, but that's not. Projection. But the other thing is, the money cannot just go to willy-nilly. You know, I'm not getting a car out of the deal. I mean, nothing. Okay, except hopefully less calls and stuff because things are better. But what we can use the money for is to improve roads. You know, worst thing is you're driving 35 and you a sunken pothole or something like that. There's a car to the right, and you're off the road with accident. We have culverts and bridges that we have $10 million in the next 7 years of road work and bridges and culverts we're gonna have to replace. Gonna happen. They're washing out in the big storm, and you can see where they're, you know, 35% of the roads that it was washed out there. We know it's a problem. We let it go and don't fix it. If something happens, and it's reliable. And who, it's, you know, who wants that family members, okay? So there's a lot of things to consider. I understand. You have a question there? There's a microphone. Name, address, and
My name is Tiffany Bill. I live at 337, the center of town. I have been a victim of these traffic jams, not once, but twice in my lifetime so far. Same name, same month, same year vehicle. What was it? Connecticut license plate. One number off. Okay, they try to say that I'm speeding through a light in New York City. I was not in New York City at the time. I was in Springfield, Massachusetts, Indeed. Okay, the second time was down in New Haven. My vehicle was over here on the at Capitol Garage at the time that they said that my speed. It was a nightmare for me to get out. A complete, absolute nightmare. New York was better. They said, this was when I called up the state of New York. I said, I was not there. This is my license. And they said, oh, okay, well, we figured that, you know, we gave it to, last digit was, so we gave it to you, and to 2 others, and that these 2 calls. Wasn't you.
I don't, okay, I want to address, oh, go, no, please, go ahead.
Again, it's not stated. So I'm not involved, he's not involved, that board is not involved, it is these out. And they're going to hire, he just said someone to look at it and there is an issue, we already addressed, that they're just getting rid, not going to charge you. So that will solve that issue in the town ordinance for the town. I understand New York is a headache, you know, all these other stuff, I drove from here to Tampa Bay, Florida, and I tell you right now, I hate every minute of it. So, but, this is not that, right, every experience is different. This is Connecticut, it's down from the town from here. You already got enough to do, it's exactly how it's gonna be, they can 100% say that was you at that time, at that place. Gone, and we move on. So, how that helps your school? Well,
Any questions or?
Well, it's also a question and answer. So,
Okay, please, go ahead.
okay, my question is do these cameras, do they swivel or do they just stay put?
Nope, stay put.
Okay, so it's like I can go out in my yard. I'm out there camera 20, you know, at my job all the time. I'm a mail carrier. I'm a rural carrier out of here. So I'm, you know, when I come home, I don't want to be on camera. I mean, if I wanted to be on camera 24/7, I would have auditioned for Big Brother.
Turn on. Yes, sir. A question. Okay, do me a favor, either stand up and.
I got a bulging disc on my spinal column, but I'll stand up. So, because it's a lot of, here's my big question. We all know those roads are dangerous, and like you said, everywhere you go, it's like everywhere. The little roads, I feel, are more dangerous because not so much like 57, 66, and 6. People are doing a faster speed. Now, when you go down a road that's 30, and you're doubling that speed or more, somebody's gonna get killed that. We worked in the area. And I've been telling them about this since, and I'm not gonna stop you because it needs to stop. These are local people. It's disrespectful. Somebody's walking his dog. And literally, they almost clipped it. I seen a mailman told me he almost got clipped. It's ridiculous. So here's the way I look at this, right? No one likes speed bumps, no one likes this, no one likes that. Not a problem. It's like a little child. You gotta punish them. They need to get a spank, whatever it is. So if I like what he said, if you're missing this one other roads, then it's like it's all the time. One in the other. Car goes by the speed and the guy in the pulls them over. Can't you do that sometimes on a small road? You know what's gonna happen? This is why it's work. Because these are local people. They go there every day. Once you get tickets, they're not gonna be worried about driving. And that's what I said about a child get punished. Their insurance goes up and they're gonna get a ticket. Your thought?
All right, so, the reason why I said,
Yeah,
because I am focused on the busy road.
yeah.
On the more travel,
Yeah,
on the more traveled road.
yeah.
Because that literally is the majority of the accidents that happen. Accidents aren't happening on the.
Right.
Statistically.
Yeah.
So I get your frustration, but you're not the only one. What about Pine Street?
Right. So
If we implement these on these major roads,
it freaks you out.
get away from those roads, you won't see me hanging out by the wooden fence.
Right.
Or by the Columbia sign. Right. Or the other place.
You're
You put the cameras in, and I can work on Whitney. I can then say, hey, traffic unit, be careful what you wish for, but you wish for it. Traffic unit, let's go at it.
Yeah.
And the traffic, yeah, so, traffic unit comes in.
And I like to feel what he does.
Yeah.
Because you get five things, that's to get things done. You're a busy guy, you can't sit on 5 little roads. But if he has 3 troopers sitting on that road one day, about 10, 15 tickets, guess what? The people that spend that ticket that day, they probably won't speed again because it's like getting punished.
So I agree.
And the reason I'm so stern about this is we're tired, man. I just spent $1,000 on trees in our front yard because people drive so fast. And my fear is before we do something about that, and they're not gonna like this happen, that's what's gonna happen. I'm just waiting to hear that bang, head on collision. It's a small road, it's narrow, like the other ones. People are doing 60+ trucks with trailers on the back. I mean, that's crazy.
So there's that issue, right? So, I know that you're voicing your opinion, and your frustrations,
Yep.
and you haven't eased off, because I'm hearing about it.
Yep.
But again, Whitney Road's very difficult, okay? I put radar, I have a laser, I'm doing everything I can to get in my vehicle so that I can stop them. But I can't sit on Whitney for 4 hours when 87 has an accident
Yeah.
on the curves. I mean, whoever lives in that area,
Okay,
you got drunk drivers hitting poles that are on their lawn, which.
I see all the crazy accidents.
So that being said, if these are implemented where I just said.
Yeah.
I will then advise, send to headquarters, hey, I need traffic, because like I just said, I'm done giving one.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the stuff I've done since I've been here last March are Columbia Road. Obviously, if you're not listening to me now, you're not going to in the future. So I have a way of doing that. I'm a nice guy, but I also know how to do my job, firm, fair, like he said. I will call them in, be careful what you wish for, but also I've already talked to other assistant groups, they have the same issue.
Yeah.
It's happening all over the world, not just in this town. However, you're not the only one frustrated on
Yeah.
with me. You're also not the only one on a small road that's frustrated.
Yeah.
And I hear it, but there's only so much I can do right now. And it's gonna take time. It doesn't happen in a day.
And
Can I want to add something? We were talking to a vendor of speed cameras today.
Yeah.
And I said, is there a limit of, because they're in business to make money, that's not, they make money. Is there a limit of how much a camera has to capture, produce of people going over? Of course, they want them on busy roads and stuff. And they said, no, there's no minimum, no max. You want it on the room, you have to, it has to go through DOT to get a 85-15 ratio. And if they get people who are too fast, we can put a camera on Whitney Road for time. Now, we don't want a camera on every road, and you can't put them around. But a road like Whitney Road is right in the center. You would slow down or not speed up to 60 by the time you hit, you know, you're coming down, you just keep it slow. And then by the time you went by the camera where you know it is, there's no reason to go 60 the rest of the road.
right.
So it may help. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would qualify. But believe me, he and I talk all the time. I beg. And he goes, I understand. I got an accident here, I've got this here, here, I get it. Well, I get it. He gets it. I had a trooper in this town, I said, you gotta sit on the road, please.
Yeah.
They came the next day, this was not a while ago, and they said, I saw 27 cars. I'm really well, I don't, I'm saying, I get a walk. And I'm like you, I want them in. Because $150 ticket might soon make me think twice.
It will.
So, we understand.
Yep.
We're working.
Appreciate your time.
Yes,
You know, I get a little wound up, but like, listen, I love in the country because I lived in Asia before different places. And I want to know, let's speak. Yeah. I got a bulging disc on it, so. Good to meet you. Thank you for letting me share.
I promise you. I took it for that,
166. Full disclosure, my husband took me to St. Clair's, movies there, the he is next door, we don't know. So I said 281.6 as of today, would not have that because our mailbox was by a driver, did not break his active. Taken out. If you have seen that sign, we approach Pine Road towards the center of town. It's the intersection sign that keeps going further and further down. That's right. What's else? Right. So that is double. And that's four things. This one, the guy goes in, but it's not clear on the bottom, right in front for the proposed estimate, just wrong. So speeding is a problem. I know this, anecdotally, and because students get literally outside my house every single day. But the other thing that I kind of, to get things perspective, we can cross speed those 66, we can cross into Middletown from 66 from here. There's a sign that says roads. Last year, I don't remember the actual final amount, it was well over 300.
Last year was a better year than we've had. So I think we're at 272 last year, I think, which is down from over 300 in the previous years. We're on a downward spiral trajectory. We're looking even better for this year.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Projection wise, we're looking better.
This is actually my question, which was since these have been implemented, how has the deaths been going down? Because I know it's not just vehicle to vehicle, it's vehicle to pedestrian. And I don't know if you see the folks who are walking with traffic, if you're walking with traffic, these are ones that stop walking with traffic. But it is both those that are deaths that are counted on that side. And last night it was 55, which I'm sure is still front.
It's a better, I'm not gonna say it's a great number because it's still awful. It's a better number. It's a better number than it's been for the last, we keep a rolling average, rolling 5-year average. The numbers are better than they've been for the last, over those 5 years.
And that's
So the first speed camera went in 2024, the end of 2024. The fatal data takes time to get recorded. If you see dispatch to a fatal accident, he has to do a report within the first day or two, within the first day, and the final report doesn't get done for quite some time after. So the data for 2024 is almost done. 25 is still pending. So that the numbers, since if we're going to draw a line on the graph of where the cameras went in and where the fatals are, it won't be until probably next year we'll have good numbers on those. And we'll have to look at like, are the fatals down where the cameras are, or in the municipalities where the cameras are, or where they're near. If you have a problem area near the border of another town and you're leaving, say, Washington, Connecticut, what's it doing in the town next door? They're slowing people down there too. So we're hoping, yes, we'll know more next year. Welcome.
Yes, sir. My concern is the cameras done great. Something has to be done. Someone killed. A lot of kids are out with bicycles now. And Daytona 500 is about to start the 1 o'clock in the morning races going down. And going to build an X, so we listen to that all night long on aggregate. GSP does a nice job with that. My concern is Egerton is famous for beating the intersection. We've got 18 wheelers that do it. We've got people from Columbia Ford employees there that speed to fly through there with cars. My concern is, I know cameras are here. I'm going to avoid them by taking the street. Is it going to increase more traffic on the back streets? Because it's already busy with people trying to keep the light over the stick. What's it going to be like when there's cameras there and let's go the safe route and take this road? So I'm just worried about traffic.
So there's no mystery to where the cameras are going to be. There has to be a sign where there's a camera, and they have to both be there. You can't put a camera without a sign. You can't put a sign without a camera. So if you live here, it's not going to change what you're doing, except for you're going to slow down, hopefully. If you drive through here repeatedly, if you work in the area and you have to go through one of these areas, you're going to know eventually either A, I saw the sign, B, I got one of these infractions or tickets, or somebody I know did and they were complaining about it. So the people that generally use the road most often will know where the zones are. And they're posted, like there's signs out. The sign has to be there for these things to work.
Right.
So I'm saying, so There's not a sign that says hey, speed camera's 4 miles ahead, use this detour. It says photo in use and the camera's right there. So by the time when you get to it,
Word of mouth, just like, we get the DUI down around the streets on Saturday night. People know that the law enforcement typically sitting down in the park. But we get uptick in traffic. Now already for people avoiding that intersection.
because these guys are there, because the troopers are out. Is that why, or another reason? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Don't want to have to take that turn to go this residential road, which is come by my house and I'm waiting to see damn, you guys have to replace the curb with hay. I'm just worried about extra traffic because word of mouth, Waze is telling them where the cameras are.
Yep.
So if I'm already know I can avoid the intersection by going up Eger, now I really got to avoid it because they got cameras on. Well, that's just cameras support, correct? Well, I'm assuming that would be a pretty good spot.
Okay, but I don't know exactly. So I understand. I have said, probably. All right, at the end of the day, let's be realistic here. It's not word of mouth. I mean, in South Columbia, I think you guys know half of the things happened before. So, yes, it probably will. But guess what? Who's going to be sitting there waiting for that tractor trailer to go down where it says no trucks through? Who's going to wait while guy is like, oh, I could beat the light and speed through here and go through the stop sign? Me. But that's what I'm saying. It's not a fix-all. It's to help deter the speeding and the aggressive driving, and it's a deterrent, just like I am. When I'm sitting in different locations and people are taking photos and sending them to Instagram and Facebook and all this other stuff. Oh, the trooper's here today. Yeah, not for long because I'm moving and getting stopped. But it's a deterrent, right? To slow down speed. And it has statistically worked. It's not a catch-all where it's going to fix all Columbia problems. It's not going to. But Edgerton, probably, if they're already doing that, we put signs that says no trucks through. If truck trailers are going through there, I need to be aware of that because I'm not, to be honest, I'm not tracking. So if that's happening, then I will sit there and wait for that tractor trailer. And then guess what? I'll call the traffic guys and be like, hey, I got a truck. I don't know what to do with this guy, but you do, if you can have a moment slide over here. Or we have sergeants who are truck guys that can call up here. So there's ways to fix it. Again, I just need to be aware of the issue. Not gonna be fixed in a day, but we can work toward it.
I just get concerned because there's more kids living on the street. There's a lot more kids out playing on the street.
Absolutely. Dirt bikes on Pine. I hear you. I got you. I'm trucking.
I know. Trust me.
But that's another issue that I'm having is, there's dirt bikes out, kids on bikes. They don't pay attention to what's behind them. And if they go swerve and the car's there, boom, bad day. Whether the kid's at fault or not, you shouldn't be going that fast, whatever the case may be. But that's what we're trying to deter. And it's all happening on the smaller roads that I can't get to right now. Because the main roads that we have, again, part of the community that don't care, like he was just addressing. So we need to educate, communicate with the community, and then I will do my part, and they're going to eventually learn.
Steve. Quick question on Jose, 387. One of the things that I've noticed these last several years of living on 87 is tractor trailer traffic. They go way too fast. They use the Jake brakes all the time. They're probably doing 50 by the time they hit my house from the center of town. They hit the Jake brake. Sometimes I wonder if the glass on the house is going to break. It's pretty bad. And it's all hours. It's morning, noon, night, and noon.
What's that?
353 Route 87, so just going down the hill at Central Road. I hear it from both ends. I hear it going down this way and coming back towards the center of town. I hit the Jakes all the time. So I know speeds, and that's one thing, of course, talking about that tonight, but is there any sign or what's the ordinances, laws on Jake brakes? Is there, it's just.
I have someone that can answer that.
You're a local town, but well, Gary and I don't know what this truck is. And I forgot to mention, every trooper that's coming in, about 12 of us, but I used to be in 60. That's an academic, country club, but commercial vehicle, federal commercial vehicle inspectors also. If we come in, there'll be a certain set of troopers that will focus on commercial vehicle work, that's what they like to do. And there's the speed teams that will focus on everything needs by trucks, by troopers. It's like the PMP inspector, they can see it scales, radars, they do nothing but commercial vehicle inspections and commercial vehicle enforcement. My unit and the select few troopers throughout the state are also certified in that. As well. Good morning, town ordinance is much faster. We'll also investigate stuff like that. Then we'll be up to we'll go through trucks. The difference would be this. Traffic down these. For balance, personal motor vehicle, kind of thing. It's like any other truck. I can stop personal motor vehicles to do that. And work it into a federal motor vehicle carrier safety inspection, right? Which affects the carrier's motor vehicle scores, it affects the driver, insurance, stuff like that. So I did it today. I'm working a long day today. I worked 3 hours with commercial vehicle enforcement today on the big roads. I had one down to the main area. I stopped trucks for speeding down there, and they got a ticket plus the federal inspection. So that's another thing we can add. We got a commercial vehicle problems. What's next? With that. No. Question, can we put a restriction on the use of those brakes on Route 87?
You can't. That's go through the state police.
Correct.
State road. All right, the state police, DOT.
Yeah.
So the town can't do much to state roads, and it's a problem we hear all the time because most center of towns have state roads in them. And you have to go through the DOT, and so they're working harder to be better, but they've got work to do. And you are not alone in these issues, and you're on the list. So to put in perspective, we had a town that had a crosswalk issue, and they decided they're going to put one of those rapid flashing beacons on where you push the button and lights go on. 7 years. 7 years to get it done. Okay, so yes, get to work on it right away, and then be prepared to wait a little bit.
So Mark, continue to be around with trucks. We got signs up there. Well, then, how's it all?
Right, still.
Signs are not right, Mark. We've talked about it.
So the Prop 66. Maybe a foot away from the curb, but you can see it before turning. You turn when they wheel like, oh, there's a sign. I can off 66 before I approach everything. So if they can't, then they probably shouldn't drive. They probably should be chasing. Well, when you're going down 66, there's a sign. If it's basic, it's a state road, you're saying no trucks can travel 66. Can't do that. So that's why it's basic. Off, turn on everything and the sign is there. It's on every road and it's that other path. Go through trucks is on the road, but no trucks. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, what you're saying. I agree with you.
It's not going to move.
I have asked to have a sign that like this. Put one on each side and have them flare out a little bit so we can see it as you approach from both sides. We're still working on it.
Shan Brothers is going to
You need one of those snow tools on Cherry Valley Road. I live at 21 Cherry Valley Road, so they might not do that for here, but they go to the intersection and come off and go to the side entrance, take a left on Cherry Valley, and then go all the way to Lebanon. Okay,
Okay,
through the back roads. I just met a tanker truck, gasoline, and another 18-wheeler on my road while I'm trying to garden.
what's your name?
Nancy Purvis. Is that it? Plus, I got to sign up. I got to sign up for the previous, trooper and ask him to use my driveway. I got the hold so he could put the camera or I'm sorry, I forgot the speeding. I dug the hole and put the post in, otherwise I wouldn't put it in. 72 miles an hour.
Yes. The speed flashing sign that every 1 month on every road in the town. But listen, they cost money. and the town has enforcement. So you can build it for the trooper all you want, the trooper is not gonna put it up, and I've been working with Mark. Okay, but what I'm saying is, I've been working with Mark to get more of those signs. Okay, I'm doing the one on Whitney Road, is in a rough, stupid spot, or whatever the case may be. But they also have to be put in certain locations, and some of these signs cannot be moved constantly. There are trying to get signs that can move every other month, and we're trying to work on it, but it takes money, which this town does not have. So again, I understand the frustration, but also, a lot of people say, hey, sure, you can park my driveway. That's great, but my radars don't work from side. It works front and back, and then I have to turn my body every 5 seconds to try to catch a car. And by the time I do that, they already see. And then, oh, they slowed down. So I've implemented radar, so I can hit front, back, I can do all that. Great. However, you're not gonna stop everyone. And everyone, I understand, has opinions and frustration, but we gotta kind of get away from that and understand realistically what the town and your resident trooper can do in this town. And we're giving you that, but if you get cut down every time we give you something, there's nothing gonna happen.
And another sound.
So we need an open sign and 50 others.
Yeah.
We're gonna sign them.
Thank you.
Right.
I'm gonna try to. I know about another, I know about the law.
I understand.
Okay. Please, Mark, make a note, carry down.
Note made.
Yeah. And put it so you can see it. I've already discussed this, Mark, many times, because when I get frustrated, and they do the work, it doesn't mean I run. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Alexis Kate, with 30. I formally speak cameras and service to deter us to reduce state that we can also encourage some of the town use that to finance infrastructure, full of all of that. I do have a question about the implementation of this, as well as like in terms of like transport. So you had mentioned, just like you said briefly, they're keeping the data for 30 days. Who is the vet? Like what company are we using to store this data?
We have this.
Okay, cool.
So there are several vendors available. You can pick whoever you want. You part of Capital Region? You part of the CROG? They vetted 3 vendors. They went through and vetted 3 vendors. We can use whoever.
When are we conversations about determining who we're going to settle? Or are you all of a sudden?
No, so let's see if think on that, but we have 3 vendors.
Yeah.
But we're not just gonna say, hey, we're putting them in without doing this. So we're doing this to get a feel of what the town and the community want. And then Steve and Mark, probably myself, will meet with vendors that they're choosing, and then have this kind of conversation.
And I appreciate you volunteering to be on the committee. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something in the contract, we talked about when data would be.
It is in this,
In the statute.
legislation,
It's in the statute. The minimums are in the statute. And the town has to adopt what the state statute says as part of their ordinance. If they don't do it, the ordinance won't get approved, the application won't get approved through OSTA. But it doesn't meet the requirements set forth by the state.
Other than that, so. Yes, please.
Go back, and I know that we are using those lines for the infrastructure for our town and transportation. I'm wondering about like our multi-facet capital suite. I know that our speed cameras are one. I saw that we are not recommending speed bumps and labels. We did talk about mumble strips. I'm also wondering about like sidewalks and crosswalks and bike lanes in our roads. We do have, I was looking at our plan for our next 10 years. We're talking about our population age is kind of aging. We have lots of people who want to be able to get out of their house, go on walks. But the streets that we have are not conducive to people being able to navigate their immediate surroundings.
about my mother, who like wants to walk with her dogs on my road. And people not get around the corner without risk. And so I'm just wondering about if we are thinking about that type of infrastructure as a part of our, you know, if we have a crosswalk, people are cognizant of people walking, people are thinking about it because it's built into our infrastructure. For people, but I think if we have like people-based infrastructure rather than just a car-based infrastructure, we'll do a lot in our towns. They feel like they have the right to do whatever they want, but if we want to get people focused on, we need to make it.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time.
Then me, please. You're first.
So, totally agree, right? He even made a bike lane going basically all the way up and then said, oh, Columbia, boom, it stops, go. Nice, right, because we've heard it, I've talked to them about it. So, 6687 says, state road. DOT, he already explained, takes a while for them to get things done, it's just the nature of the beast, right? With that being said, if you look at 87, who on 87 wants to give up some of their property to put a sidewalk? Okay, 4 out of how many on 87, right? So those are issues that physically you could not reduce the size of that road because it's already this big.
Yeah.
And there is no, I mean, I've been pulling people over and I'm telling them like, pull in the grass, like all the way to someone's lawn, and now I'm traffic stopping someone's lawn because one, it's more safe, but two, the road is not big enough to implement sidewalks, walkways, bike lanes. You can't, unfortunately, in this town, the roads are all kind of like 87, Whitney, Hunt Road, where it's like, if we do that, you would have to take some of people's property, and it comes to a lot more than that. What's up?
Valid to ask people on those directions. I feel like several neighborhoods would elect for sidewalks. Sure, trying to speak with people, but those might be the only ones that
I'll do what you're doing. That's some of the stuff we can help you with, is to figure out solutions. We're not going to say like, yeah, we're going to make this gigantic bike lane and we're going to put sidewalks. We'll help you with what you've got. And we know a lot of towns are in that same boat as you, where there's space limitations, there's budget limitations, but things can be done and we can help you with that. And that's part of the stuff that we do.
Sidewalk from here down to Lake Road. $1 million.
I can imagine.
We asked about, we asked about well, I'm not here. I don't know. Could the traffic speeding money go towards sidewalks?
Yes, absolutely. That's part of one of the things was mobility, and that's one of the mobility things.
Lisa Napolitano's question, so laws change. So right now, we slightly decide that based on the laws, it's written in today. So in 3 years, we have a 5-year contract, I hope whatever it is. 3 years later, the state decides, well, we're gonna keep that down. And we're going to, harvest information and keep it in one of these status. Can we get out of it? Then we say, no, we don't want that happening to our people. That was something that, laws change.
Yes, laws do change. I guess my answer to that is,
We write that.
we can ask them. And, the other thing is, I hope everybody else with their cameras do the same thing, because they'll be getting the picture of it. And you dump your cell phone and you get rid of your Fitbits and.
Yeah, so we can run it all day, right? And I understand, but we can't say what if the law changes. It's a possibility.
But you're selling it as the non. You're selling it as the.
Now, the statute that says you can't do, here's what you can do. Yes, laws change. They can amend the statute, they can change the statute.
Yes.
Yeah, so right now, so Connecticut's like a new territory for these companies. They want to be here. They're there to make money. This isn't a money-making operation, except for them. They'll make money off of this. Not going to lose money. They're not volunteering their time. But the best way I've heard this thing described, it's a middle school dance. Everybody's standing on the outside waiting for somebody to start dancing and to learn from them. People are dancing in the middle now. And when things start to happen, you'll learn from the people in the middle. So as it goes on, yeah, in 3 years, you have to do a report about your findings to see if you can renew your contract through the state. That's part of the process. If you have a 5-year contract with your vendor, don't renew it. Simple. That's simply it. So we want out of this thing. You've changed you've moved the goalpost once we started playing. We're done.
Like our John Van Clever through. Yeah, back in the beginning of your presentation, you glossed over the fuel product.
It's in your ordinance. However you appeal things now. If you got a parking dog ticket or a parking ticket, how do you appeal a parking ticket in this town?
You don't have one.
Don't tell anybody that. Okay, so it'll be in your ordinance. It'll be in your ordinance. Yeah. So some towns have an ordinance in their ordinances appeals, a whole section for appeals. If you don't have that, it's got to be in this one. It'll be in this one.
Could be the legal traffic authority.
So there are 6, actually there's 7 appeals categories that I've heard of. There could be more, we would put them in. They are, I'm going to an emergency, family emergency or something.
You're just adding stuff. There's nothing right now written.
No. We do have them, right?
There's 7 reasons that you.
Right. But if you don't have it, yeah. So if you say, hey, I'm a volunteer fireman and I was going to a fire call, because that's been the thing that's come up too, is somebody that works in the town not recognizing a volunteer firefighter or volunteer paramedic going to a call in their personal vehicle that didn't see the light and have because there's just a picture of the license plate in the car. So that's your appeal. Yeah, that's a thing.
So there are 6 examples of 7 ones. When you're in front of that person or panel, explain why you don't believe it was you or your vehicle. Or another instance of why your rate of speed is justified. So there's 6. I know there are.
Right. So that's like my car was stolen. One of them.
Getting your thing calibrated. How often?
They do that. I think they have.
They do it once a year.
Or if
How often you need it?
Or if needed.
something's wrong.
Yeah. If you're looking at all of a sudden everybody in the town's going 98 miles an hour, something's up. They'll come out and do it whenever. But it has to be recalibrated.
This gentleman right here. I have a few problems with processing. First of all right, we don't know who the vendor would be. They're out-of-state companies. I guess you have 3 to 5 companies you're talking to. As far as we know, they're in Connecticut. All right. Their laws concerning how they deal with Connecticut may be different because they're in another. This gentleman can address that, and their policies towards data collection because of that. We don't know who they are yet, telling us who's in the running. So we can't research them. We can't look to see if there have been any issues anywhere that they've set up cameras for their states, counties, whatever. Okay. You'd be locked into probably a 5-year contract, maybe 3 years. And I guess what? We have to have you appeal to the town and not to them. It sounds complicated for the town. All right. So there's a bunch of complications. The other things I'm thinking about is that no insurance report, which to me, probably the single biggest thing hurts is if the ticket was rejuvenating and, that speeding infraction was reported to the insurance company. So, because without it, that's a much bigger thing than paying this. Fine. Okay. Also, it's my understanding from one of the previous discussions on this, that the company would still take like $5,000 of tickets, are collected or not. All right. If this works in terms of modifying driver behavior to where we got almost no tickets issued, town money, income from this to the town dries up. At least we got to pay up. Can I give it that? Yeah. Excellent. There's no money up front from the town. When they first came to us a year and a half ago, it was $3,000 upfront for the camera per month. It is no longer. Any upfront money or any money from the town. There, regardless of the number of cameras, yes. Because it has to have a study to say that a camera is viable at that location, okay? That's why the gentleman was talking about Egerton Road. I'm not sure we would put it that close to entrance either way. There's other straightaways that people pick up speed more, like down by DPW or by the transfer station. There's a conclusion before the camera in. So, well, we also don't have it locked in as to where they would or would not be. And down the road, if we reroute in order to put cameras, then we'll have the complaint saying, well, this other intersection is now a problem for cameras there. And this will, I think, snowball. That's my fear, is that it will snowball. I also noticed, one other, thing, which is that the state wording of the statute is a little bit, okay? I think there should be an and or in the whole. Any funds received by the municipality imposed pursuant to an ordinance adopted under this section shall be used for the purposes of improving transportation mobility. And they basically say investing in transportation infrastructure improvements or paying the costs associated with automated traffic enforcement. So we could end up in a situation where there's not a lot of coming in, and somehow we end up, what money does come in ends up being paid out because they say, oh, we gotta, maintain our cameras, something like that. We don't pay for maintenance on the camera. None. This is. So else, bring up certain questions. That's good. Tonight, we're just getting a flavor on should we start to move forward to looking. Okay, thank you. Yes. Yeah, when you come to me.
Plan of the routes, I will refer to the routes east. Yep. Which class? What these companies like? The names. What?
Who's the only name to the company?
DACRA. This is their business. This is, yeah, their companies just do this. So the names of the I forget the ones that the CROG vetted. I'd never heard of them before I started doing this either. They're not companies that do anything else but this. They're just traffic safety. What's that? Block? Flock? No, it's not. These aren't not Flock. No. Nope. So pick it.
And then we will,
It'd be a public bid process.
this is for like that. It's a year away from probably deciding and vetting and all that stuff for getting these cans.
So like I said, all the approved plans are on that OSTA website. You can go look, you can go read, and the vendors write the plans for the most part. You can go look at all those companies you like.
Yes.
I just question, and the question is, how did the cameras, see motorcycles?
So if the camera is set so it's going away from, yes. If same thing as if somebody has their plate in the back window. They may not see them. They may not see if you got your plate in the back window. They may not see you so great in the night if you don't have your lights on your plate. Like there are a bunch of things that you can't see, or the motorcycles that got them down on the back of the thing, they're twisted around, or under the seats when you sit on them, they drop down, you can't see them. So you're not gonna see everybody. I mean, really, it's truth. So, right, it is motorcycle season for 100%. Yep, couple of nice days and they'll be out. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question for you, sir. In regards to cameras, I'm thinking about, because I'm hearing, people who live on the back roads. Back roads are darker. Do these, like, say he gets, our first selectman gets a hold of a 1968 Corvette. He's ripping around the roads, back roads, like, do these things have a flash to them?
No, you drive past. It's like going through the good easy pass ones. You don't notice the easy pass is going off. The old one's just a flash. If you go through an easy pass, thing, they don't flash anymore.
Right here.
Sherry Gage. Just, isn't there a book? I just wanted people, my understanding was, before this happened, the town don't have an opportunity to vote. Is that part of the process?
You will, because you'll have to vote on ordinance to move it forward. So yes, you'll all have an opportunity to vote. Okay, and I only have one vote. I only have one. So when you're writing, please say, he only has one. Yes, Mr. Powell.
So John Myers, 324 Route 87, I literally live one plot to the right of the intersection of 87 and 66. So everybody that has fears or you're worried about this, I've actually seen it. I've seen applications with motorcycles. I have seen motorcycle land in my neighbor's yard. I had cars end up in my multiple times. People that work at the landmark have had cars that hit them and they're from all different directions. It's not just one way or another. And for 30-year military career, I was a truck driver. I drove commercial trucks. So I know a little bit about trucks. I've got some funny stories about that too. So these guys here, we heard our houses are being shaken. The church during services are getting shaken. St. Columbus, same thing. The school, they can hear it. I'm sure Chief Lewis, you've heard it. I think we take it one step further. I have no problem, number one, asking forgiveness than permission. Number two, I have no problem jumping on top of a desk at DOT if they have any hems and haws about what we're doing. Everyone in the state government, we need change. We need radical change soon, or else we will have residents killed here. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be in front of our properties. So, Steve, we have your back. Local ordinances. One thing I would love to see, and we argued about this on Facebook, but on 87 from where Lebanon is, where it branches off, and was at 287, 87, 289. Thank you very much. Thank you. From 87 to really down to 6. How many businesses are on that road? I know the landmarks on that road. No, that's further north. That's further north. A lot of cattle. Yeah, it's a farm. Okay. Well, no, I'm talking about the intersection where Lebanon ends and comes into one. So, really, so we have a small farm. We have a landmark. Why the hell is this so relevant? Why? Because today alone, I had a stop and shop vehicle flying down the road, and he got even faster when the light turned yellow. Yesterday, I was mowing my lawn or doing something in my front yard, and this guy in a big truck just was laying on his Jake brake from the line of parties all the way to the intersection. So that's why I started waving down to my wall. Wait, after I went up to the intersection and I stopped, I said, and I got up on a shot and pulled him roll down his window. This is all a residential area. Use your pneumatic brakes. Really, as a truck driver, you're really supposed to be using your Jeep to slow down when you're going downhill. Not for when you're going a reasonable speed limit and you're going to the stop. And it's not more Jake brake or we're about it. It's called an engine retarder. I think they're actually being made here in Britain. The last thing. And if we were able to get all this ridiculous real traffic, partial traffic that we have no business for our town, is there any, do they provide any benefit to our town? Name one. I'll tell you what, our lake has been like included even more. Now, this hasn't been as bad, but what's I think it's called Truck Path, Hammer, and Truck Maps started coming online. The truck drivers are using these apps. So the app is benefiting, making money off of us, from our quality of life.
And there's other things. Now we have some problems with culverts and that, with the road. These roads, Chief Lewis, please, if I'm wrong, these roads, they're not designed, especially around where that water level below the water table level, for trucks, for 18 wheelers. I mean, if anybody that's gone side by side with the truck, always, if they're crossing over the divide line, there's more, when they, that big car, Rebecca does, it puts exhaust back into the engine and then through the muffler again, so you're getting even more pollution coming out of that. That could be a contributing factor. You have, they're shaking around, and it's really no surprise that we have fractures in our dam right next to one of those areas where they have to hit the engine tower, slow down before they go around turn. But once they get back up to speed, they're hitting the gas, well, they hit the diesel again with more going on. And we wonder why our lake, even though we've done a horsepower bit, why it keeps on getting more polluted. That could be one of the reasons why. I propose that we take even a step further. I have no problem getting a 12-pack of beer and putting out those signs and putting them up there and asking for forgiveness from DOT. I have no problem standing out there with the sign telling these truck drivers, number one, slow down and stop using your Jake corporate. And I certainly don't have a problem, and I'd love to maybe sit down with you and maybe even your husband to do a good military, this military decision, not just on this one road, but considering everything together. Because it's not one thing with the trucks, you're gonna have what on your road. Yes. Well, if they're all.
Gas, gas,
Don't get me wrong, if there's business for a tanker, no, sure. Yeah, but, honestly, Great. Right, so we want for us.
I've obviously expressed concerns in the past, and we just had some questions to maybe came in, specific. When you're talking about decline in feeding in those areas, the measurement, are they still measuring the amount of traffic? Is it still like a percentage of people through that? The numbers of speeders have declined, or just the numbers of tickets have declined?
Numbers of speeding has declined. So
Tickets being given versus the number of people that are going through that.
the speed, so it's recording speed data too. That's where the data came from, those that long sheet of paper. No, those are numbers. So it was at 90,000, now it's at 30,000. Those were numbers, not a percent of a thing.
Which are people going to begin avoiding those areas and then therefore going to those? One of the concerns, and again, the town, but I've heard complaints from a local town that all cameras, is that people are avoiding the roads that have cameras on them. And, not only are they going down that town, they're avoiding the businesses that are on the same roads in that town. Fine, since those have gone in. My second question behind that is, sorry, so much work right now. My second question behind that is, Steve, can you kind of give what your viewpoint is for the appeals process? There are 7 different ways people can appeal. The 7th one is really subjective if the committee you're appealing to thinks and have. So really, there's a limited number of ways we can appeal based on the legislation. But what you're seeing for like how that appeals process would happen, how the collections process would happen. So again, that same town, just real quick on that same town saw a significant uptick in the amount of collections notices that they need to send out, which created a new cost. And now that same town is looking to add speed cameras to offset the cost now occurring in their town. So, which Marlboro. So just so you know that's something that's going to, I'm just curious what your view is on the appeals process. What type of person is deemed qualified to determine if their neighbor has been speeding, because that's where I have no illusion of privacy. So my complaint is, my complaint is, well, it's the kind of way it's skirted around. We know the way it's skirted around, something, it's on the top of me.
So the first one is who can tell. We put a speed camera, remember some driving for 287? If we put one right near there, would it be beneficial for an 18-wheeler?
I'm not gonna be real.
Well, they're the biggest, they're, and when they come, they can't stop. When they come, pretty fast, they're taking off the whole thing. So let me, I want, even car, okay? So let's say you have a camera there. You think it's easy to slow down or go down double day and take a ride, time, get to the 7-Eleven, or to go. I know the camera's up there, so I can't slow down. So I'm going to take a hard right down Latham Hills up. It's a bigger camera car, and we don't. Where the speed picks up and gets really dangerous, because that's then after sunrise, you start heading down the hill, and then you're coming up to town, and you're looking, and the light is gonna turn from green to yellow, so you're gonna punch it even more. Those are the places where I would say that's where we need the camera, in the middle of a up or down, not up incline, decline, an acceleration or a deceleration of the vehicle. Okay, so we're turning on. I don't see anybody going, I need to go down double day, or I'm gonna go down sunrise. Wait a minute, the cul-de-sac, oh, I'm sorry. There, I understand the question. I understand this gentleman. Well, I do. I don't think the camera is close as it can look. I think the camera on six, yes, it will have the studies and be able to lay them out for where we decide to put the camera. I just want to, I get one vote. This is the model tonight. I just feel we get one vote. But we'll put together an intelligent group to figure out where we're going to put the cameras. And the company we choose will have that information also. Okay? Now, your second question, how would the appeals process go? You ever heard of, I'm not sure, there's no hang the judge being Old West. You know what, Mike? If they said right now, you're gonna be a model for portable cameras, we're not gonna give anybody something to do. I go, I know, because it's fair. And he'd give his wife a ticket if she was speeding. And that's me. We're all. Absolutely. We're all. It's the scale of one. You know.
Yeah, no, the second thing,
What happens? 6 months out of the year for safety, maybe fire people, maybe if they died in the fire department, maybe somebody here for 50 years. I don't know. If people are, they can come and go, listen, yes, that's my vehicle. Or that number's wrong. Well, yes, that's my vehicle, because I've been there on speed camera in Washington, D.C., and I know the rest of the more, so I went real slow. Okay? So, every time I go down. So I don't really know what it is, but I don't think we're out to screw people. We're really, we're out to slow people down. This is the first thing that came up, slow people down. There is an don't do more than 10 miles. I see the red flashes, I slow down. I look, that animal, I look for Gary, because you giving me a break? Hell no. That's why I'm not. So the truth of it is, I really don't know. I'm going to call the areas that, and I'll see how they do. But whoever, it'll be appointed or will be voted in. And it'll be fair because once they go to them or him or her or they, once they go to the group, and then they go, I'm going to see the first select. If it's fuzzy and I can't make it up, or this and that, I don't know how it's going to go peacefully. But I would think, how many are appealed?
I don't have a number, but I know most people that have questions, once their questions are answered, are like, oh, okay. They just want to know why, the how and why, especially when they're new. Once the kind of word gets out and you look at it, or it's your second one, you look at it and go, oh yeah, that was me. Or yeah, I know the reasons I can appeal this and I don't have them.
Even Marlboro has like 8 a month, and however many they set up for appeals, they would do through the camera system. Just like we're doing tonight. Zoom, thank you. But half of them would never show up to their appointment. I'd have to get that from Marlboro. I haven't gotten that far.
Yes. There you
Good evening, Caroline McLean from 56 East, where the corner of Lynn Road and the Bassett Baseball, where you get trucks for hours with 6 people to repair the damage again. 3 or 5 chances of taking vehicle that was in one way or another, it was a bunch of options. So I am 100% on board for this whole program. And I want to thank Mark and Jen, and Steve, and everybody that has contributed time to this point tonight. This is an amazing forum. Everybody has great questions and learned so much just there. The truck apps. If Steve is going to designate a road that is no truck thoroughfare, how do we get it to let them know you're not traveling on that road? These are things that are tonight, but great information. So I applaud all of you. I'm all for it, and let the journey continue. And thank you for your time.
Okay, so. So, as far as the topic about speed cameras, we have not decided as a group. Yes, or for, we're not even for it. We need to get more information, we've had questions, they can write down the answers, we'll do this again. And, okay, speed bumps, something. I'm all for it. I want them 100 feet apart. On this time. Here's like, public works, talk to 3 directors. They make speed bumps. They are a nuisance to our plows. They're not safe for drivers. Okay. So my fire chief. My emergency vehicles, we can't do that. Okay? We can't, we have to get into places quickly, save lives. Okay. Trooper. You want speed bumps? What do you tell me?
Listen, again, I don't live in this town. So, but I can tell you that in my road, it is not the busiest road, but cars are going 60 miles an hour to 35. I'm up on the hill and my cruiser's sitting outside, purposely parking at the end of the driveway and people are still flying. We're going to have issues. All I can say is state roads, that's a different battle. That is not a town problem. It's going to be DOT. It's a state road. They have, if you live on a state road, unfortunately, you own it. The state's going to do what they want, and there's only so much time to do. Speed bumps, all this other stuff. Yeah, maybe they can work on Whitney. They can work on Pine. But again, it's a momentarily boom, boom. And some people, if they have big trucks, they're like, oh, I can clear it, and they still come. I have a truck, and I can tell you that the truck goes, I don't have to slam on my brakes to hit it, and it'll go hard. It is what it is. It's a deterrent. All these things we're talking about are deterrents, and I understand your frustrations. But at this point, I go to the committee meetings, the safety traffic things there. And when I go, it's just like we're talking about solutions to problems, but at no point do we ever find a solution to go with, because everyone has their own opinion. Someone doesn't like this, someone doesn't like that. I understand that, but that's your decision at the end of the day. It's not mine. I work for the state and I do my job regardless if someone likes it or not. So I'm for the cameras because they deter and it helps the community with the issue that you're saying. Whatever you guys decide is on you. Speed bumps, go on the small roads. Maybe they help, maybe they don't, but it's also going to deter response times to medical calls. And I can tell you right now, I usually go to every medical call. I don't have to because it's the EMS call, not law enforcement, but I go to them because I can get there quicker than the fire truck. You got a volunteer fire department that shows up, they get the tone, they got to wait for the route tone, and they all show up at the firehouse, they get in the rig, and then they just drive it. I can get there faster. But if there's speed bumps, we have to safety considerations, you're slowing it down. Even driving on 66, blaring my siren and lights, people are still driving in front of me like I don't know. So just keep these things in mind and don't just pivot straight on your emotions and how you feel and go straight with that. Just understand, okay, I get what you're saying, but also understand how much we can do and what we're trying to do. That's all I have.
So the speed bumps, when you told, it said a lot of times speed bumps and people are going too fast and the bonds off of there, it could be worse.
They could, because Whitney Road had speed bumps,
And the town could be liable.
and you're not worried about them flying now, they're flying in your house.
But also, some want and freeze in the winter, causing people to slide through them.
And not just that, with the plows, as they're going over them, they're going to start disintegrating. And eventually now you're paying every so many years to keep redoing speed bumps, which is costing the town more money. That can go to other things. So these are all considerations.
Yes, sir.
John Brown, I'm totally against the camera. One reason being is they tried to implement them in 2023 and they put it. And then decided, well, we're gonna figure out a way to do it to change legislation for it. Like she was saying, I'm just worried about in the future that it turns into just a nightmare that nobody in here wants to deal with no matter what. The Whitney Road situation, I work. The GPS sometimes sends you down 66 and back to 87. Like half the time it'll send you up Whitney Road. Like in the morning I'm half asleep while I'm there in my GPS. I'm like, why am I going all the way down here? And sometimes it wants to send me up Whitney Road. I noticed the keeper in Wellswood has become an insanely busy road, and it is probably 30 seconds faster than going through the center of town. So these GPS things are causing like a big issue with these smaller roads. They add to like the rumble strip. I lived on 66. They put them in. It was horrific the first year they were in. Now it's not so bad. They wore down. Don't really notice it as much. But they were extremely loud. So I don't know if those were you were talking about that were, or if they, I don't know what they were, but that situation was unknown.
Either two different. They're molded differently. They made them mumble because it really doesn't move outside the car. We tested it and stuff. But that's coming up after speed bumps.
And like those light up signs, like coming down the road, all in it, coming down that hill, when you come around the corner, you're coasting, and then just all of a sudden you hit a spot and you pick up 6, 7, 8 miles an hour very quick, and then you see the sign, and then you slam on the brakes out. But that works for me. I will admit, like I've probably gone down that road doing 50, just not noticing it at going down that hill. The other thing I had is what hours.
So I'm a day shift, but I switched to today so I can be with the question.
Yeah, because like driving 87 in the morning is a nightmare. And like in my work van, I set the cruise control 5 miles an hour over because someone's gonna kill me if I'm doing speed limit. Basically, it's like people are buzzing you, giving you the finger, and lights at you, One of my friends, Bryce, was 11 on Town. I called and said, "Are you working? You got some idiots coming your way," you know. But I really feel like the biggest problem is the GPS thing, with like sending trucks up roads and just like diverting all this traffic. And Bryce, you know, they don't have a town cop anymore, but he said the same thing. Every road that he went to, it was only residents.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's a good point for everyone out here, like, you're gonna keep, you guys are complaining, he actually said in person.
Google Analytics, that's what we call in to tell Google that the maps cause you a problem. Just make it. Okay.
Well, this is what you have.
So I sit on 87 almost every morning.
Yeah.
I watch all the school buses go by. You can ask some of the teachers, the nurse at the school, they've met me. And that's because I was waiting. So I'm sure everyone sees me in the morning on 87, but that's to my point is why I'm on 87 so much. Is because it's such a heavily trafficked area. There are school buses going. I park in front of the house where kids get picked up from the school, hoping that someone thinks that they're smart enough to try to pass it. But it's things like that that is the issue. But I can't leave that knowing that is a big problem to go somewhere else. If I know between the hours of school and when I get on, something might happen. So I'm going to try to, divert them to not drive fast or go say, oh, I know that trooper sits there every morning, so I'm gonna go this way. Okay, cool. Guess what? I'm over here. So again, there's every road in this town is an issue. And if we're talking about side roads, I can tell you, nobody that doesn't Columbia is driving down a side road all the way over here on Old Willamette that is not from here. So they don't know where the hell it's from. They're gonna take 66 or 87. So again, the town. But how many times have I pushed out or told them to push out? Tell them to slow down because I'm not giving warnings anymore. Yet we're still having this issue. So again, at some point, like he said, we have to do something. This is a solution, not the solution. But I will say before I will request a traffic unit, and it is what it is. And they will come in when they come in, and you will very much see them and know that they're here. But I've already talked to other resident troopers about being more visual, and then just hitting it. And you're worried about your $50 ticket or your plate being on camera. You're on a state road. You have no privacy on a roadway, and a public roadway, regardless of where you are. So the privacy thing goes out the window.
I don't have to.
No, I understand. I'm just saying.
And like to add to that, it's like as a town, if that does happen for, I don't know what even an example would be. If it somehow turns into some sort of nightmare, is there a thing we can have a vote and say we don't want to scrap our town?
We got that in the note. We certainly asked the matter. Yeah, I'll put it out there. Yeah.
And I got one more thing, like just to add is observing Middletown, Middletown is not big wall street there. You're doing speed limit, you come up to that sign for the camera. It's every time you go through there, you got a guy big thing through, goes speed limit through there, and then it's a racetrack when you know it's in the clear. So there's a whatever 1,500 foot field where everyone's playing Mr. Legal, and then it's a racetrack after that. And that's at 7 in the morning when I'm going through there, but that's just something that I have observed as well.
Kristen on Beverly Road. I have similar concerns, Lisa and Rachel, about traffic that are harmful. I don't really want to necessarily discuss concerns. They're similar to what has been made tonight. But what I did want to know more about is I've heard about the issues coming out of Marlboro, creating, new traffic patterns launching out of it. Is that stuff being studied and looked at for impacts that the traffic cameras create?
Yeah, so the towns themselves are doing that on their own, because that's a concern that every resident in all the towns that have the cameras do. So the towns are looking at it, like I said, this is a newish thing. So there's no data for me to give you yet. But yeah, it's a thing. Obviously, it's a thing. People will go around the cameras and they're trying to figure out. So the one thing I do know is Middletown has said speeds are down citywide or townwide, and crashes are down townwide since these things have gone in.
How many cameras?
3. And 2 of them just went in a little while ago. The first one was the one he was talking about on 66 or Washington Street.
that have to do with why Greenwich is turning theirs off, or is that a separate?
It's a different type of camera they're turning off.
Okay,
They're turning off flock cameras, which record data like coming in and out, and it's a flock, right? Because you share with your flock.
Yeah.
The sharing part was bothering the residents there, so they turned the flock cameras off. Different thing entirely.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, I appreciate hearing from the timber, team, because I think that's a more immediate solution. We're talking about speed deterrence and other solutions. I think we need solutions now that are gonna happen before traffic cameras are ever a thing, and I think that's a great one straight off the bat. Sounds like they can implement pretty much. But I would like to hear from the Board of Selectmen about other solutions and what you guys are looking at. I know you are looking at things.
I'm looking at everything very involved. You know, this is, yeah, good question, so I guess, and honestly, I don't, looking at all of it, I don't know really what the answer is. I mean, I thought putting speed bumps on a couple of roads. But the concern that emergency and DPW and our trooper talking to me about was, okay, I guess it's quick, that's a decline the whole way for the most part. Okay, very difficult road. They talked about painting the entrance of the roads large, hey, 30 miles an hour, 35, 25, so people absolutely know it. Kinds of, yeah. No speed limit, right? Yeah, that's the speed, right? Right. Sometimes it's fun. You get to find on the, yeah. But we need to have more signs up. Okay? People need. We need to cut down on traffic and sidewalks and stuff. Absolutely. And we need to make sure that they're safe, so people can see them at a hit, so they don't turn in and go, oh, I'm not supposed to stay on this road. But people do it anyway, especially when they do that. Mark and I went to a meeting up in Eastern Connecticut, and they talked about sharing resident troopers, like handovers and working with somebody in country, whoever has a resident trooper, is working into 100%. Us authorizing, hey, go work handover today. So you have 3, 4, 5 resident troopers working in town for that. Yes. Bond action, our town in emergency. We can do that. We need those 3, 4, 5 troopers working out on one day. And then hit 5 different ones. People come down here knowing and they go, oh, there's a trooper there, so I'm not going full time later. I'm gonna go this way. And then all this, that'd be great. I mean, I'm not doing traps. So there we talking about trying to. So, Kristen, I could talk about the book and yeah, check. We'll bring all this stuff and put it in a summary and bring it for the board of selectmen and some of the stuff we do. And that's we can put more signs up, absolutely, so people know or to see if we put signs up, food trucks off of back roads and stuff, do these. I just think. What? One time, I read one time, over in Holland, where another neighbor had a trooper's tag on and stood there. People slow down. Well, it's so easy to go to
I will get in touch with traffic service to get them in here. You also have to understand that the state police, we're at although we don't have that many officers.
I think you're short of 300.
Just in, public safety in general, right? So, yeah, if a request for traffic services can be made, that's a lot quicker than dealing with this. Obviously, everyone has their own opinions to it. All I can say is, we need to figure out something now. And we can't keep pushing everything that the traffic committee and the board throws at you because you don't like it. Because if you keep complaining that the traffic is, the speeding is bad, distracted driving, that we're walking on the streets, the cars are hitting us, and then when we say we're gonna do this, it's like, no. Well, we can now go back at square one and we're just going in circles. So, traffic service, that's my job, I can do that. And then I will be out there still enforcing it, which is understand that Andover, Bolton, you know, Coventry, Mansfield, these guys aren't gonna be all to leave their areas because we're short staffed. Emergency services, so just be aware of that as well. And we're doing our best.
For questions, okay, is something. Beside the clock. Okay, so let's jump right here.
5 seconds, 87. How often would the payout from these tickets show up in the town? So, all right, you're saying this institute, I'm against this from the beginning. We're giving some nameless company the information that they're gonna keep for 30 days, but as a young lady up here bench. All right, how often would the town, this does for some strange reason, ask? How often is the town making a payment? Something, is it quarterly, is it monthly?
Monthly, usually monthly, but you're in a contract with them where you hold the cards. If you say you want it every 3 months, every quarter, they'll do it. There's no set parameters on when it has to come out. You negotiate with that with them, and they're willing to negotiate. They want in.
Now, I'm also concerned now, you said beforehand, you were asked, this also for more revenue and whatnot. Then I hear the young lady talking about what's the sidewalk in. And people are like, yeah, you know, I'll donate for my property. Well, let's keep in mind, put a sidewalk in. Who's gonna shovel it? Who's gonna fix it 2 years from now when it's cracking? You know, this is all money. It's like, hey, great, the initial cost, oh yeah, it'll be covered by tickets. Now, with these tickets that are coming in, I'm afraid it's gonna be now budgeted into our yearly budget to pay for things. And then what? That would be like maybe over to 8 miles to 10.
10's a statutory minimum. Statutory minimum's 10. Can't below 10.
So can I address that? I just want to say, I understand. Thank you very much for. When the sidewalk came to the board, the price tag, the first thing we said, we've given a problem, yeah. Who's taking care of this? That's the place. Why? 1 second. We're not going to decide. In 3.5 years, well, I don't, forever, we did not want to decide. The cost of the spot for him, it was more work for our department of public works, the more regulated. I understand. We purchased in the day for a huge park land. We're building trail. We have 2 eastern greenways and we have Maryland. Only place I can. In the car, safely done. In the corner school. Right.
What's,
Right.
and your air, really thought is right next to my house.
Right. Okay. So what I'm saying is. People get together and they make the decisions that we believe are best for the town. So you have to kind of come to the meetings and say your piece. And then if it has to go before the board of selectmen, they're all pretty level-headed people. And we just don't, hey, guess what? We got our first check from the traffic. $82,000. Let's put in sidewalks on this road, that, I got plenty of problems with roads. by, cameras flashing. I, to be honest with you, it's a 35, so too fast, and I look around and I go. So there's other things to spend money on, bridges, roads. So I understand, cooler heads and put people in offices, right? We're just not writing checks for things that we don't talk, discuss, and truly not good for you. So I appreciate it. Sure.
John Obsowski, Chairman, how many people would the town have to hire to run this program for the city of the town?
I have no idea. If everybody slows down and nobody gets a ticket, nobody. We're not Middletown. And, we're not New Haven, we're not Hartford. We're more like Beacon Falls, we're more like Washington. So
So some of those towns have used public works, people work at public works when the summer help comes in. So when they hire their kids for the summer, it frees up a public works person to do that. Like I said, or a light duty guy. Somebody's on light duty.
Well, last quick question. Someone mentioned calibration cameras. You can run these radar checks, and you can actually calibrate your vehicle to know exactly, most vehicles are a few miles per hour off. And in most cases, if you're towing that line at 8 miles an hour over, just under, but for additional mark, you're getting a ticket. Okay, when you could actually be under that.
I think level heads can probably say 10. But you can set it no less than 10, at 10. But we've talked about it. You look at the studies and everything, we can get the people to slow down from 15 to 20 over to 10. I think we get to that. So I understand what you're saying. It's not, it's just the difference between getting a ticket and not. I understand. But 15 to 20, or 15 above, 20 and above. That's it. Not a big question. Not a big question. Pros, cons, are different. Okay, that's fine. But other things that come out of this, we can work on the side. Go ahead and hear us talk to Yeah, absolutely. You're, that young lady's on the committee and now you're on. No problem. Making decisions on something. More signage on and off the road, miles per hour of that road. Get the trooper involved, get other troopers, get that. The traffic. Damn it. Get that involved, I will done. What is the love of this? Is this for someone who more than once? If. I'd be wildly surprised. Wild. Amazing. We're a little long. They probably rather go to the outside of the building or Harvard. We heard it. We used to have 6 go down 12 now. Ridiculous. So